I live, the more I realize that children's lives should not be run by adults, mainly because a lot of adults are no better than children at running their own lives. And if we look at the world the way it is today, it becomes abundantly clear that potentially things go wrong precisely in that period of the first 18 years, where almost every adult the child meets is trying to make it a point to dominate them with their intelligence, their expertise, their experience, their age, whereas most of the time those people have none of those things, except for the age, of course. Except for the age. And the thing is, the older an adult gets, the more they become aware of the fact that perhaps their life isn't running the way they would expect it to run. And the reason why is because when they were a child, they were not allowed to express or even explore who they are. Instead, for those 18 years, the adults around you are going to try and replace your own thinking with their thinking, whilst also telling you that that's the right thing to do, that it's the best thing for you to do to ensure your safety, your happiness, your success. But those people did not know what to do with their life when they were that age. Most people don't have everything figured out by the time they're 18, and the thing is, they shouldn't. Most people don't have their life figured out by the time they're 50. And yet we place all of this possible expectation onto a child. And whether they're aged 5, 7, 10, 12 or 18 actually doesn't matter, because in the eyes of the law, they are less than, whilst at the same time being protected supposedly more than an adult. As a society, we keep screaming, children are the future, children are the flowers, and yet we then take that flower and try to suffocate it with the weight of our own unfulfilled expectations of ourselves, not that child. And a lot of adults unfortunately try to self-actualize if they're not very fulfilled by taking as much domination over a child as they can possibly take. And sometimes it goes into really wrong places, and that's precisely why we live in the world that we live in today. Because in the first 18 years of critical stages of development, where your brain develops, your nervous system explores what is safety and what isn't safety, how to function in a society, in all of those stages of development, almost always there's going to be someone who's going to try and belittle you and tell you that you have no idea how life is going to be like, you have no idea what it's like, so you shouldn't take pride in making your choices your own. You shouldn't rely on your own decision making. You should listen to the adults, right? Those are the same adults that are making the world the way it is today. Do we like the world the way it is today? It's not all bad, it's great, but there certainly are things to improve, and the way we treat children as society is one of those things. The way we treat their education, the way we treat their development, the way we treat our own relation to children and what it means for an adult to have a child. It's not just so that you can mold them into a little version of yourself that is just doing better. I hope people understand that having a child and molding them into a mini version of yourself that is just better at everything that you were at that age is traumatizing for the child, and it is not the meaning of having a child. Certainly you should not treat discipline and education as a tool of blackmail and manipulation over your child just so that maybe they can get better grades, or maybe they can become less inconvenient, less messy, less loud. All of those things have nothing to do with actual safety. But most unfulfilled adults are going to make almost every little opportunity of self-expression and self-exploration for a child about their safety, where actually it's about them being intimidated by another person having a chance to do something they didn't. Something that remains unspoken to this day is that a lot of adults resent children for still having the opportunities for growth that they didn't have or aren't going to have anymore. But all of that is perception, all of that is mindset. Those people have designed their own limiting beliefs. Maybe the adults I'm talking about did not design their own limiting beliefs, but they certainly decided to stick with them through life and then push them over to their children. And that's simply not healthy. None of it is healthy. It's not healthy to discipline your child into anxiety over having good grades just so that you can go to a friend hangout and parade your child's progress and how intelligent they are and how great of a parent you are for making your child the best excelling student in class. It's not about that. Moreover, that gives you zero guarantee of success in life. Honestly, I realize that it's an uncomfortable thought, but the world keeps changing every day. And no matter how much success you think instilling fear and anxiety into your child is going to bring them to achievement, that is simply wrong. A child's nervous system is not designed to bear the weight of anxiety and its consequences in the same way an adult nervous system develops to be. Moreover, a lot of adults still do not have a nervous system that can actually withstand difficulty and hardship, precisely because when they were a child, they were not taught the concept of safety. They were not explained how it's meant to feel, because in their own home, they were fighting a battle. If you're uncomfortable with that idea, think about how any corporate company works. CEOs and executives do not do project management, and project managers do not do CEOing and executing. Yes. And executing of the creative vision or the financial vision for the company, right? So the parents are actually the project managers in this scenario. The children are the CEOs and the executives, and yet we let the project managers run the direction of the company. Isn't that insane? And isn't that insane that a lot of people becoming parents see their child as a way to self-actualize in life? To me, that's just wrong. That's wrong, because that is an impossible expectation to put on your child and pressure to make them fulfill something you know you failed at. Then a lot of the time start to resent your child if they're not living up to your expectations. That's why so many adults, if you dig into their psyche, are actually delusional about how the world works, and then nevertheless the world keeps working this way because we have delusional people running it. And every new generation that potentially could fix things goes through this period of 18 years where their original ideas are being taken and where their original ideas and vision and unique perception of the world is being scrambled into an omelette and then fed in a public canteen and laughed at. Whereas the child may not want an omelette, they may want a boiled egg, they may want a fried egg, they might want to eat it raw, or they might want to bake a cake, and that decision is completely up to them. This culture of telling children that they do not know how life works, that whole culture of limiting children's decision making because you think that they don't understand how the life works. Do you? Do you really? Why do we keep selling and buying into the lie that as long as you do what the adults tell you to do, everything is going to be great? Look at the adults around you. Do they know what they're doing? Do you? If you're a parent watching this, I seriously encourage that you try to look at parenthood as a project management role. You are there to help your child execute their decisions. You are not there to make your decisions theirs. And to be honest, when you grow up, hopefully you will realize that the child's decision making is precious. It's precious. Their ideas and their understanding of the world is more valuable than diamonds. And yet we take it and we tell them that they are beneath the adult world, that they don't have any idea of what's happening, that they are incapable of making their own decisions. A lot of people aged 40 are still incapable of making the right decision. Why are people still selling this lie? And a lot of the time, an adult is going to try and make it about the child's safety, and it simply isn't. First of all, no one can guarantee absolute safety, and choosing for your child which career path to take, or which school to go to, or which friends to hang out with, which sports to do, or maybe not to do sports and do hobbies, all of those things are not your decisions to make. You are there to facilitate the child making decision that they believe is right, not you. You can exert all of that influence in your own decisions. Try it and leave the children be. Protect them, but let them leave, okay? Otherwise, what is it all for? Just so that you can tap yourself on the back, that was a shoulder, and tell yourself you did a good job, and find out 20 years later that maybe you didn't and your child has been in therapy for years or is going to be. Even if they won't need therapy, would you not rather rest peacefully knowing that your child is a well-adjusted individual, as opposed to resentful, bitter, angry person that thinks that the whole world is out to get them? Not how messy, inconvenient, or loud the children are. That is their prerogative. Just let them be, okay? That has nothing to do with discipline. And if your child is dealing with behavioral difficulties, most of the time the first thing to look at is your behavior. Most of the time, it's a you issue. Are you having difficulties? Are you capable of supporting someone with difficulties? Just something to think about.